What were some of the things that you worked on in terms of training with her?
Well, the first things that we had to teach her was, like, make sure she knew how to sit and how to stay on a leash and how to stay and the basic commands.
So have you been working with her on those?
Yes.
And have you seen improvement in her over time and over the family working with her?
She's improved a lot. Before, she was, like, very, very shy with the family, and it didn't seem like she would really do it, but then she actually improved a lot.
That was just Shaggy came and visited us for a little bit there. Kelly, how is it having Delilah around, knowing that the love of your life is in Iraq right now?
Well, I think that it has helped out immensely. I think that it's given the kids, something else to think about not being so lonely and not having their dad there. I think for me, it's given me a little bit more, joy and affection. When your mate isn't there, that person isn't around or not available to be around, you take for granted the everyday physical contact that you have with somebody. So in some ways, that dog kind of fills a void in, I would imagine, probably everybody's life. It gives you something to look forward to in the morning when you get up. Like Delilah will, Delilah sometimes sleeps in my room. So when I get up in the morning, I say hello to her. But if I don't say hello to her or I don't acknowledge her, she will come up behind me and nudge my hand with her nose and literally say, "Excuse me, but I'm here. You need to love me now." So, you have to turn around and acknowledge her presence. And I would have to say that by far Delilah is probably one of the most affectionate dogs that I've ever really known. And I think that has really helped the children as well because, I'll even be holding the baby on my lap. And if Delilah feels that she wants to be loved, she comes over and takes her nose and puts it underneath the baby's hand like, "Excuse me, but you didn't say hello to me today." So I think that it's given every person in the family a little bit added joy. And, if you're worried about your mate or your dad or your child away and in a dangerous place, it kind of gives you something else to concentrate on that's positive instead of a negative, So I just think that it's been a wonderful influence for, not just myself, but the children as well. And it's taught, I think, the kids responsibility, in having a dog. They have to get up, and it needs to be fed, and it needs to be walked, and attention needs to be paid to it. So I think that all the way around, I think it also teaches them about biology. There's, in grooming the dog and, its eyes and care for its ears. There's so many things that a child can get out of caring for a dog that I think that all the way around it gives us a good positive distraction.
Now, there's Delilah again with the baby. Chuck, walking the dog, what does it get? Katie walks the dog, you walk the dog. In reality, what you have here is built-in exercise.
Sure, the dog's taking good care of all of us.
Making sure that you all get your 30 minutes of walking in per day.
Yeah, she sure does. And you know what? The dogs are nice icebreakers too. There's not too many people that won't stop and talk to you if you've got a dog, especially a pretty dog like Delilah.
Mm-hmm. As we move down in the training, and this is for Janice, what can we do as a foundation and our wonderful family who's foster caring? What can we do over the next few weeks that perhaps can give us a better idea of how we're going to, what kind of home we would be able to place Delilah?
Well, I think, different dogs are going to require different levels of intervention and training in different areas. An adolescent male that's jumping around the walls and counter surfing is going to require a different type of training than a dog like Delilah, who's generally fairly reserved, but needs work on the socialization end. She needs experience having people come in the house and remaining calm and relaxed and accepting unfamiliar people coming in. So her training is going to involve more of that type of focus and effort. Since she seems to be doing well with her sit stays and downs and walking on the leash and that sort of thing, what we want to focus on with her is making her feel more confident and better acclimated to having unfamiliar humans come in the house. So that would be something to work on with Delilah that might not be shared by the next dog that comes through the program.
Now, anybody out there watching our show, and I hope people start calling in now because our lines are not open at 312-738-1068. I think one of the things we need as a foundation are more foster care homes, foster care families. I guess the question would be, how can someone become a foster care for an animal, for a Bon Ami animal? And that would go to Janice, and then perhaps Chuck's and or Kelly can answer what it's like being a foster care parent for a dog.
Well, the foster family has to be willing to accept the responsibility of having the dog in their home. They have to, make sure that the dog is groomed if needed, vetted if needed, feed and water the dog and exercise the dog and do whatever training may be necessary for that particular dog. Give them a loving and nurturing environment, and then be willing at the conclusion of 12 weeks or whatever time period is necessary to give that dog up and say, we've done what we were, what was expected of us, and now that the dog is ready to go, we need to be able to open our hearts and say, okay, we love you and we had you in our home for this period of time, and now we know you have to leave. And that sometimes can be a difficult dimension of foster care in general.
Kelly, Sarah, Chuck, anybody want to respond to what it's like being a foster care family and having a dog like the Delilah, knowing that you're going to have to give her up?
This is Chuck. It's a lot of work, and I think probably the main thing that people have to understand when they get into this is that it's a short-term thing, that we're taking this dog to try and help the dog and to try and help some cancer survivor. And I can remember 25 years ago when I went through my wife's cancer, just the fear and the horror of that whole thing, and if this dog helps somebody else that's in that initial position, it's well worthwhile. And she's a sweet dog. The most difficult thing is going to be letting her go.
And I don't think that that's going to be a real easy thing to do. I think that when you care for a dog and you see how hard it's working to, please all the owners in the house or the surrogate parents, Delilah she is such an affectionate dog that the bond, I think, between the children and us and the dog is pretty intense. But you just have to keep focused and remember that, as much as we're bonded with this dog, the next owner hopefully will be as bonded, and we're pretty confident in the foundation in that, that they're A, going to find somebody who is competent and loving, and B, is going to follow up to make sure that that the situation stays the same, in that Delilah's going, to a home that's long term a good home. Sometimes people get dogs and they think that, they can handle the responsibility, and then, it turns out that, they can't. So, I think that's just our thinking that, you have to have trust in the foundation and the people that are running it. So.
And and that's true, Kelly. And I personally know this family. Everyone, all the children, the grandpa, grandma. I know Chris, who's in Iraq, and we wish him the best of luck and love. And Bon Ami Foundation is based in the fact that breast, prostate, and colon cancer survivors who walk an average of 30 minutes every day reduce their risk of new cancers or reoccurrences by 62%. With that said, our program Adopt a Furry Friend, specifically dogs, although kitties, I have my little Bon Ami. She was my kitty who I lost a year ago. But having a dog, having a Bon Ami dog, is because it helps people get out, walking. It reduces their stress. And right now we have Marjorie on the line.